Hey, this is Matt with the Woodworking Network, and today we're visiting Titus. This is Paul from Titus, and he's going to give us a little overview of who Titus is. Paul, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have a 40-year history of producing precision components, and we have a guiding principle or philosophy within our company that we engineer for purpose. And what that means is we look at what the purpose is for the customer and how the customer uses our product, and we try to design it in such a way that we enhance it. And from a user interface and assembly and such, it makes their lives easier.
Okay, so user interface, making life easier. As a professional, I want to go look at some of this. I want to see this. Would you mind showing me some of the hinges?
Absolutely. Let's check it out.
You guys need to see these hinges. They're really impressive. Go ahead. Okay, Paul, so it looks to me like you guys are recognizing that there's a trend in hardware, that it's becoming a little more integrated between the kitchen and the living room.
Absolutely.
And that the needs are a little different for durability and such.
Sure.
It looks like you guys are recognizing this, but you're going to be better at this. Tell me how.
Absolutely. So within Titus, we have 3 hinge ranges. We have our T-type hinge, our S-type hinge, both snap-on feature hinges, as well as our B-type, which is a slide-on hinge. And for that very reason, you talk about how that's all kind of all encompassed throughout the house. There's a need for a higher end hinge, a higher performing hinge that can be used not only in the kitchen, but in more decorative spaces within the home. So as a result of that, we developed the T-type hinge. We developed it with some really high performance characteristics. The first characteristic that I'd point out is we get 200,000 cycles on the hinge. Yeah, I mean, so you're talking 25 years of usage in real life terms in that sense. The other really unique feature, I think, when we go back to making things easier for the customer, one of the more difficult things is when you're trying to place a hinge, multiple hinges and lock them in, and you have to go from a certain angle. Sure. We recognize that and took feedback from customers, and we've developed a T-type where it can snap in from 3 directions. Typically you'd have this, you'd have to get it lined up right at the right angle, and I could do this from any number of angles, but I'll pick one of the 3, for example, and you hook on right there, and you're done.
You have another product now, the SlideX?
SlideX, yeah, we have a modular group of long dampers.
Right. Yeah, I'm not leaving until you show me this stuff.
Absolutely.
So you're gonna need to show me this, Paul. And then maybe I'll leave.
Sounds good.
Please show me. Okay, so this is what you were talking about. These are new looking and interesting looking. You're gonna have to explain this to me. I've never seen anything like this.
So this family comes from our long damper range, which is a bit different from what we're doing on the hinges with the short dampers. But I think it's important to actually take a step back into why we got into damping, right? I mean,
sure.
That has been part of the cabinet and hinge industry for quite some time. And when we explored how do we get the highest performance back to our principles of the highest performance, best user interface for our customers, we came to the only conclusion that we're going to use our internal automation group and develop it from the ground up. So we totally greenfielded the category. We fill our dampers in a vacuum so there's no air entrapment. We ultrasonically weld the caps on, which basically gives you durability and seals it off from leaking. And we then transferred that technology from our hinges into the SlideX category and the SlideX group.
Okay, so how does SlideX work?
Yeah, so SlideX, it would be, again, our long stroke damper, so we range anywhere from 50 to 100 millimeter.
Gotcha.
We also have the ability to go to different temperature ranges, so if you're using a refrigeration environment or an oven environment, they can stand up to those types of temperature, high and low temperature ranges, if you will.
So that includes wine coolers too, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, just
absolutely,
checking.
Yeah, absolutely. But what's unique about it too, with how the system is set up, is that it actually has a feature. Not only is it soft close, right, but it's actually pulling it closed. Right, so if you think of yourself just a normal bumper at the end of a door, let's say moving, for example, it's just going to absorb the energy, but that's about it. With this feature, it actually grabs and pulls the trigger of the door in or the drawer, and actually pulls it in. So there's a pull-in feature in addition to the damping. There's 2 different ways of doing this. One here happens to be from the outside in, and on this version, it's from the inside out. So it all depends on how your door is positioned and the location that you want to have the trigger. And then this gets into our 100 millimeter stroke, which is the longer damping stroke in these two items.
Thank you, and I'm grateful for your time today.
Appreciate it.
Paul with Titus. Amazing stuff. I'm Matt with Woodworking Network. We're gonna go enjoy IWF for a little bit.